everyone, it's Cheryl, and I'm ready to get going on this Christmas Smash book, YouTube Willing. The last video was very short, and it took me 4 hours to load, so we'll see what's happening. I'm going to turn on this other light because I've got some shadow going on, and I think I'm still going to have some shadow going on. But we'll see. We'll make do. So I've chosen the papers for my journal, and let me get this out of the way because that's going to be one of my covers, which I was going to be doing today, is covering those, but I thought I'd show you the papers I selected. I don't know if I showed them all the other day. I can't remember. It's the way my life's been going. I came home from work yesterday. I wasn't feeling good, so I left after I gave meds, which only was like an hour and a half before I would have left anyway, but I was with our new program manager, and she's not med certified yet, so I had to stay. Plus we have insulin, and you have to be insulin certified for that, so even if she was med certified, it's hard to tell if she meant insulin certified at that time. Okay, so I have chosen out of the Christmas at Amesbury Street, I chose to start it off with Santa Claus here. And I cut the pages down so you can see there was Christmas wishes up here. We'll have to cover that with something, but that's not a big deal. This is out of the Home for the Holidays stack. A little bit of black there, just, I don't know, because it worked. Because I had the paper and I don't have a lot of... I realized today I don't have a lot of Christmas ephemera or Christmas paper. I've done some Christmas cards in the past, but, you know, everything I had was pretty much geared toward that. So this again is out of the Christmas at Amesbury Street, and I think this is the order I'm going to go in. I tried to alternate reds and greens and that. And this again is Home from the Holidays. This is from the Bundled Up. It's just a red and white triangle. It'll be fun to work with. And then I have this out of the Christmas at Amesbury Street, and likewise with this one, I had to use the Plaid Deer. I love them, and that was out of the Home for the Holidays. Then I was digging and found some of my Tim Holtz papers, so I'm going to be using this one and this one on the back, and I'm just going to be making, I think, a big pocket out of that. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it exactly, if I'm going to make it envelope style or just leave it as a big pocket, but we'll see. This also was out of the Christmas at Amesbury Street, Home for the Holidays. Christmas, again, I'm just going to call those Christmas because saying Christmas on Amesbury Street just takes forever. Same here, the Christmas on that one. So this ended up being kind of an old style paper. It is an old style paper pack. I mean, you know, it's like vintage looking. And I realized that's all I've got for that too, is mostly vintage looking. Home for the Holidays emphasized textiles. This again is a Christmas, and again. And the little cut aparts that came in this set are just all these, so I will be making some ephemera because who wants to use the same cut aparts all the time. And this one will have, I decided I'm going to leave it as a flip out on that page. This one will be fun to use because you can write a lot of Christmas memories on here if that's what you want to do. And that also is from Christmas, Home for the Holidays again. And the Home for the Holidays sheets are a little bit smaller. This was from Christmas. This was from the Bundled Up. I had a few pages of that I could use. But it was like vintage look, only more like 50s look, which is really cool, but that's not exactly, it didn't go exactly with the rest of the paper. Then I used the plaid from Home, the dots from that, and this again was from Christmas on Amesbury Street. So that's pretty much how I'm going to go, I think, with this. I've got my pages selected, which was an ordeal in itself, trying to figure out things that would go together halfway decent. And I believe there will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm counting. I think there are 24 sheets. 12. I believe there are 24 sheets in here. I think that's what I counted. I got distracted, but I know that there were going to be at least 24 sheets, and that's in counting that's not counting the pockets, so there were either 24 or 25. Anyway, that is the paper I chose. Let me see where I can stack it over here. My room is a mess. I've been going through stuff. looking for things to do this Christmas journal with, and that's when I figured out, guess what? I don't have a lot. But I got out a lot of things. I'm going to be making some more ephemera, and that's going to be the next video. But I wanted to get the covers done while I had the papers and everything in mind. I'm not going to probably decorate the covers. We'll probably do that in a different video. But I thought we could start doing the covers today. And if I don't know if you can see it on here, I'll hold it up. I've made an X. I don't know if you can even see that. I have an arrow. I always put an arrow so I know which is the outside edge of the book. That's, yeah, sometimes I get messed up on that. But I put an X in the middle, and that's just so I can line my corners up. I do that when I do the fabric journals, and it also works with paper. So, and since this book cover is, I believe, 9 by 11, I had to use almost a whole sheet of paper, so just trying to get it so that it's even on the ends. Okay, and so what I do, for those of you who didn't see my fabric cover journal video, how to do it without sewing, anything like that, the X divides the paper diagonally. And so you have your middle mark, and then you know everything is even, and you just line the corners. And I know you can't see this really well. I'm not even on camera with it. You just line your corner up with the lines in the X, and you should have nice straight corners. That's the theory, and most of the time it works. So I'm just going to be putting a little, I'm using tacky glue because it's good, it's sturdy, and I'm just going to press my corner down so it will hold. I don't have anything to wipe the glue off. I guess that's what fingers are for. I don't know. That's usually what my fingers end up being used for. I have to clean my fingers off. So, and again, I'm just doing this on all four corners to start. Just lining that tip of my corner up with, and I want to make sure that I don't pull it up too far because the book corners on this book were a little shabby. And so they're going to bend over a little bit. And I want to make sure that I don't pull my paper so tight that that happens, because I would like nice corners on my book. So again, I have just lined the tip of my paper up with my lines I've drawn, and I'm going to do that with all four. Is this the front? Oh, this is the back. Okay. Okay, this is where it's going to go wrong on me. I may have to cut a little bit of this off, and it's not going to matter if it's really even because this will all be covered, the middle of this will be covered up anyway. So I'm just going to snip off about 1/4 of an inch here. I couldn't cut straight if you paid me by myself, so I don't think I did too bad. So now I just need to line this side up, if possible. Sometimes, there we go. That one's lined up. I'm just going to crease it down and put some glue on there. And again, not pull it too tight, because if you pull it too tight, there's a chance your paper is going to rip. It's a little different than with fabric. Fabric, you're on the bias when you're doing this, and it has some give and stretch. Paper, however, does not. So, I need some more glue on this one now. It's started to a little tacky. So I'm just going to make sure I line those up, and then crease them down good. The crease isn't going to show once I'm done. Hopefully, that's the word, is hopefully. And then I'm going to carefully cut. You can see my corner. I don't want to cut right up here because due to these book covers being old and they've become more rounded with use, I don't want to cut right at where I folded because I'm going to have not enough paper to make a nice. So I'm just going to snip down about, well, at least 1/8 of an inch. I mean, you kind of just gotta, you're going to lose 1/8 of an inch of your, so I got washi tape and stickers migrating over here. You're going to lose about 1/8 of an inch anyway for the edge of the book, if you see what I mean. So I want to leave some paper so that when my corner comes down, it's going to meet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all four corners. Must have been a little glue on that one. And I'm going to cut diagonally toward my book and then cut that little piece. See, I have this little tiny triangle left. I'm going to cut toward that, or cut that straight with the edge of the book. Because I'm trying to reduce the bulk, but, that's bouncing around there. I'm going to cut straight with the edge of the book. I'm trying to make a nice diagonally folded corner, and most of the time this works. Once in a while you just have those books where the corners just don't want to cooperate, and that happens. That's part of crafting. And I'm only cutting to, I cut that one a little deep on that part, but I can, it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to leave that little bit. I can always adjust that when I'm done. And I mean, I'm sure some of you are out there saying, boy, that's really fussy. Why are you taking the time? Because I would like the nicest corners I could possibly get. And then there's no guarantee anyway. So a lot of it depends on your book itself. You know, just how well is it going to work. Because of corners. And this one did have some bad corners. Oh, it's cloudy again today. Last night it got really dark and it really looked like we were going to get some rain or a thunderstorm. We don't need any more. We've had so much rain this year. Not as much as other places. I'm thankful for that. But we've had a lot of rain. And makes doing everything kind of impossible outside because it's so wet. And then, oops, I may have cut that one a little too much. Okay, but now I'm going to start folding my paper, and like with anything, you kind of want to work it up so that you don't just fold it all of a sudden, because some paper will tear on you. And this one didn't get cut all the way to the corner on the bottom here. And I want to cut right up almost to the corner, so I got to take that little piece off there. So if you don't, it's probably not going to work so well. So I'm just going to start by folding this over and working it down. And if you can see on here, my corner piece here has kind of gone past my line. That's okay. That's all right. I kind of want that because if this book does not cooperate, or I don't know, get everything I'm doing exactly right, I want to have a little room to cut off. So I'm just going to glue this side down right now. I'm just going to stick it down there. Wait for my trusty tacky glue to take hold. Okay, and then when I turn up this other side, it did not get snipped all the way to the corner. And I need to snip it. And I mean, I was nervous the first time I did this. I'm like, oh, what if I cut wrong? Oops. And then I need to fold this side of the paper up because I want to see how my corner's looking. And it's looking pretty good up there. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other long side. Same way, I'm just going to kind of work the paper up there. I need to snip this one farther. If you don't snip far enough to your corner, your paper will fold and crease on you, and you'll see it. And that just means you need to snip a little more. And that one is to the corner. Your paper will also rip if you don't cut it all the way to the corner. Once it folds over, depending on the weight of your paper, this is fairly heavy cardstock paper, but you know, I never know whether you call it cardstock or paper. I used to call it designer paper, a lot of them. Now I'm hearing it called cardstock more, and it is more like a really lightweight cardstock, so. Okay, and this corner up here, I am not sure if I'm going to get a really good fold over or turn over on it, because this corner on this book is really, you know, it's one of the front corners, and it's really, really kind of mushy. But since I wanted to cover the whole book, I wasn't just going to use some corners on it. All right, that looks good. If that's what it'd stick down, it looks good. Sometimes my trusty tacky glue. And I don't like using the tape because I have a bad time with tapes a lot of times. I don't know. I have the worst time in the world with my tape. I've got those tape runners. That's what I call them. Like these Scotch, you know, the tape things. And sometimes I have a lot of problems with those. And I'm just snipping those corners because I didn't get them cut all the way to the end. So I'm just going to put this paper down. And now I can see that my corner on this one, I need to trim back. I don't know if you can even see on the screen, but when it comes over, it's overlapping my line. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit to meet up with my line. I'm just going to take a little bit off. There we go. See? Nice corner. This one looks a little rounded, and that's just because of the book. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all my corners. Just going to kind of look at it and just kind of guess. It's not an exact science. There we go. Did I cut off enough? No, I did not cut. Yeah, I did. I need to cut this just a little more of an angle. And there we go. It's lining it up really nice, so it means I'm going to at least hopefully have some nice looking corners here when I'm done, which is something. So I'm probably going to do just both covers today. I don't know what to do about this YouTube loading thing. It's driving me crazy. I don't have the time in my world to sit there and wait 4 to 5 hours for a video to load. I honestly don't know why it's like that. I don't know what YouTube does. I don't know if they need bigger servers, more servers. They need to start dedicating servers to certain areas like live stream servers, because that does take a lot out of the servers. They need just crafting ones, and then ones for, you know, cooking channels, all the different ones. I mean, I realize that's a lot of servers, but you'd think to be as big as YouTube is, it'd have to have a lot anyway. And again, I'm just cutting my corners. And the only reason, a lot of these I'm finding I'm cutting right down to the line. The only reason I didn't do it at first was because you never know. Like I said, a lot of it, if you're using a vintage book that's been used, a lot of it just depends on your book and your corners. This one, for some reason, doesn't look... Oh, I see. I was like, why do I have a little white spot there? But it's the cut. It's the way I cut it. It was a little fold over here, so we're just going to snip that off. And again, we got a pretty nice looking corner, and I'm going to do it over here too while I'm at it. What needs to come off? And like I was just saying, most of the time you'll find that right at the edge is where you should have snipped it, but better to sneak up on it sometimes. That one, the corner did not look quite as well, but that was, the book had a pretty rounded corner on it there, so. But it doesn't look bad. It just, of course, it's going around and smishing my glue back down. It's 9 something in the morning here. It looks like the sun's thinking about coming out. We're back in the 80s again. We had cooled down to the upper 70s to lower 80s, which is pretty much ideal. All right. Cooperate. And now it's getting back up into the 80s again. Like the more upper 80s. So summer is returning again for a little while. And I mean, I'm okay with this. I'm not going to complain because after last winter, that was just terrible. Okay, so you can see my corners. Most of them turned out pretty good. Okay, oops, let's get that to stick, which it will, and it's going to be covered with another piece of paper anyway. Or, no. I can't talk today. It's going to be covered with another piece of paper around the edges, but I do want them to glue down. So while that one is drying, I am going to go ahead and do the front. I listed a couple more things in my Etsy store. The Marilyn Monroe cards. I'm going to do 6, and I should get those. Because I was looking at them. I hadn't really looked at them when I did the video. And so this is the back side of the card. And then on the other side, Marilyn in a pinup pose. And so I'm going to be offering 6 of those at a time, and I've got 2 sets listed on there, 2 or 3 sets listed on there, and then the cards I believe are War. I've got those listed, and there are 11 11 different cards in that one. So those are in my Etsy right now. I also listed, this isn't one of the ones I have listed, but I'm going to be using it in this journal. But I've got a doily edge punch, and I've listed some of these. I've got 2 different edge punches, so there's like 3 of each. And then I'm also throwing in what I've cut off the paper, some pieces of the music paper, what I've cut off the paper. I punched some of it to come here. I don't like to waste, and especially vintage stuff, so I've done some paper lace, and some of it out of the music note paper part themselves. These are just the cut-offs from the edges and the ends, so I am also going to do a lot of that in there because I didn't want to waste. Okay. You hear my cat out there. I don't know what he's howling about today. I don't know. He was an outside cat that we rescued, and I didn't really want him outside because he's one of those cats. He's really, really, really docile and friendly. He's not the brightest when it comes to crossing streets or, you know, where he chooses to lay. He's a sweetheart. He's just a sweet cat, and he had come to our house when I lived in Egan, and he was roaming the streets, and my brother made friends with him. And when we moved, he's just so nice, and some of the people there are just so horrible. I'm serious. They don't like cats, especially. The town is not cat friendly. I mean, there are people there who like them, but for the most part, the town does not care for cats. Oops, boy, I cut that one crooked. And I couldn't leave him. So we had him fixed and took him in, and I don't know what he's howling about today, but he's very talkative. So yeah, I don't know what his deal is. I think he thinks he wants outside, but he doesn't. I mean, he's gotten out, and one day he went out. I went outside, and I was sitting on the step, and I didn't get the door latched, and he came on. He just sat there on the step. I mean, he didn't really go anywhere, but if I would have let him out by himself, I'm pretty sure he would. So I'm going to do this one exactly the same as I did the other. Just the other one, I just kind of showed you what I was doing. See, if I turn this up, it's going to, yeah, it'll go along the line, but it's also going to add a lot of bulk because this paper is from the bundled up set. It's this one, and it is a lot thicker. It's pretty thick, so I don't want a big bulge on the edge of my book, since I know I'm going to be covering the inside too. So once again, I'm just going to do what I've been doing, which is cut this all the way to the edge, and I'm going to leave a little bit. Just leaving this little part does not cause the bulk that just turning the corner would cause. Not if you get it right. And then I like to have that little bit on the other side here. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm off camera. To work with. So that if I have a bad corner and it's not quite matching up, that's okay, because I can cut what I need to cut off. I can cut it a little longer, and I have something to work with. So I'm going to pick this up because I need to chop it over to there. Get out of there. And my glue is not set yet, but it's holding down pretty good. The tacky glue really grabs this old paper like what's on the inside of this book. So, oh my gosh, I don't know what his deal is. He has food, he has water. I have no idea today. So, whatever it is, he's fine. I just don't. He was running around. He came to see me earlier. He was talkative. Now I got one corner left. So let's get this done, get it wrapped up, because this video will probably take 2 days to load the way it's been going. And I suppose if you were really, really wanted to take the time and measure it all out, you could. I suppose you probably could just, like, snip your corners at your angle you want, but I am not that good at that sort of thing. So, yeah, see that one I missed my mark on. So I'm hoping this one will take care of that. Again, I'm not cut all the way to the edge. I don't know, this paper's a lot thicker and it's giving me a little more trouble than the other. So that's another thing to consider is the weight of your paper when you're using it. So I'm going to pull it over nice and tight. And I'm just a little tiny bit off the line up there. This one I'm over. I just cut this a little too narrow, that's all, or too short. It's not a big deal. Tacky glue really seems to like this paper I'm using too. And again, I didn't get snipped right to the corner, but I did now. So let's just glue these down and get this done. I think next time I come back with you, I will be creating ephemera to go in here. Once again, I don't have enough of the right. I don't even know I'm in a Christmas mood, okay? It's like not my favorite holiday. I mean, I get together with my family. That's probably the only holiday that the whole family gets together. I'm just not. I like Christmas. I do. Oh, I forgot to cut that corner. I really like Christmas. And I love the fact that our whole family gets together. I'm just not. It's not my favorite holiday. I think Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I can't wait to get going on that. That's the only part of fall. Okay, I like the leaves when they turn colors. I think they're beautiful, but I know what's coming when you live here, and I don't even want to think about it. And I mean, the beauty of fall to me is overshadowed by snow, and last year was just unreal. Absolutely unreal. Okay, I have got that one like I want it. Oh my gosh, he's gonna drive me crazy. I don't know what he wants. He's got food, he's got water, he's got... Unless he's just lonely. I don't know where the other cats are. They're out there somewhere, I'm sure. In fact, he was sitting with one of them. He obviously... I don't know what he wants. He's had a little bit of a cold, but he's over that now. Lasted a couple days. He was kind of sneezing, but he's good now, so I don't think that's his problem. This is a lot stiffer of paper than the other paper, the Christmas on Amesbury Street. So it's making me work for this one. Definitely making me work for this one. Okay, let me see where I need to cut this before I get some glue all over it. Up. Okay. Like I said, most of the time you'll find that if you line your corner up, your folds are going to be right, or your cuts are going to be right on these fold lines, but you never know until you get there, so just out of caution, see, I can even take a little more off that one. That one's going to be right on the line. It's not an exact science by any means. Okay, I've already cut that one, so all we have to do is glue this side down and get it to stick. And we're good to go. And my corners, for the most part, have matched up really well, despite the fact that my book, excuse me, had some very worn edges, or corners. Okay, so I think we're going to leave it at this today, simply because if this video gets too long, I'm never going to get it loaded. And I want to be here making videos with you. So I'll let you, that was just not, I'll have to weight it down with something. There's my corners. There you go. Taking that little extra time to make that X. And I had a problem with this one because, of course, your ruler doesn't go this way, so I finally had to find something laying around here. I don't have a yardstick. I should buy one. The only corner I had a little trouble with was this one right up here. It's going to be on the spine side of the book. I'm going to bind this with my cinch. but it's going to be back there. And it's just down at the bottom. I cut the paper a little bad. It wasn't the book. So anyway, there you have it. I have my two things, and we can get started on this next time. Maybe I think we'll do some ephemera first, though. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.